Every Friday, we have a prayer meeting for the farm. I don't know how many farms have this culture where we will congregate and sing and say thank you to God, but the family culture that we have in the farm, it's not only among the members of the farm, but this extends to our clientele, this extends to everyone else that we will meet. Hello, my name is Kerubo Faith, and today I have my colleagues Emmanuel Obam and Grace Color, and we're going to have a very interesting conversation. We'll be talking about our pupillage journey in TRIPLEOKLAW Advocates LLP. Basically, what we'll be discussing is how the journey has been so far for us, and how COVID has impacted our pupillage journey in the firm. So, Emmanuel and Grace, karibu sana to the set. How are you guys feeling?
Feeling great.
Feeling wonderful.
Are you nervous? Do you have jitters? Are you ready to do this?
Not at all. No jitters.
I think we've worked through it already.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with you, Emmanuel. Why TRIPLEOKLAW Advocates?
Why not? It's a top-tier firm, globally ranked, and I just feel like it's a perfect place for a young and aspiring advocate to hone their skills. And those are just a few of the reasons why I decided to pick TRIPLEOKLAW.
Okay. Grace, I'd ask you the same question, but I'll twist it a little bit. What made you choose the firm, or what makes you think that the firm is a perfect fit for you?
Well, my journey actually getting into the firm was different than most people. I got a call and I was told to apply because I was in between trying to find out where I was going to do my pupillage experience, right? Somebody told me to just apply. I'm like, what is this firm? I've never heard of it. Let me look it up. Only to find that it's ranked highly. It has different disciplines that they enter into, that they deal with. And so I was just told, put in your CV. I did it, and as I say, the rest is history. When you get into the outskirts, and it's not anybody's fault, you don't get to see a firm of this size.
Okay.
And as you come into the city, you get to see more of these. And I think this firm has just done a great thing because we have different levels. We have different boardrooms. We have different high-tech material. So for me, I was like, I am in. Where I was before, I was sharing space, and it was a great experience, but this just allows you with all the material to grow. So to them, it's like, hey, we've given you all this, deliver. So I from the beginning, I was like, I'm in.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
My experience, of course, I knew the firm is a top-tier firm, but on my first interview, when I came for the first interview, and I was waiting at the reception, so my interview came to pick me from the reception and walked me through the hall of the firm, and just we had a small talk. How are you doing? How's your day? Are you nervous? Do you have jitters? And just that small incident where I was picked from the reception, I was walked through the hall into the interview room. I'm like, yeah, I want to work here. I definitely want to work here. If I'm a pupil and I'm looking for a position here, and this is how I'm being treated, then you can imagine how they treat that clientele. This is the culture that I want to be in. So that is what drew me into the firm. I didn't even do my interview before I decided that this is a perfect fit for me. Yeah. So how has the journey been for you?
For me, I began in litigation.
Yeah.
The dispute resolution department, which is headed by Senior Counsel John Morris Ohaga.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a eye-opening experience. Just even from the first day in the department, just having a one-on-one discussion with him. There are just so many things you pick up on, even from his people skills, outside the practical aspect of law. So that rubs off on you as a pupil, and then also interacting with the different members of the firm. So each person is interlinked but different in their own aspect. So you pick a bit of everything from someone.
Yeah.
And I think that just helps build the perfect advocate.
Yeah. Interesting. Grace, you have been to 4 rotations now.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about the leadership of the firm? What do you think about the leadership of the firm? Is it different? Do you like it?
Well, I've moved from Team 2, which is conveyancing. The conveyancing part was headed by Tom and Ngong. Then I moved to litigation, headed by James Ochengaduo. Then moved to team 3, which is headed by Janara Kibet. Then team 4 by senior counsel, John Ohaga. Yeah, I moved back to my old team, and I guess home is the best. I'm back in conveyancing. I've been able to see the differences in their leadership styles. And like you said, it's minute, but it's also very distinct to each one.
Yeah.
The string that moves through every single department is how they treat others. From those who, in the normal structure you want to say, are below or along like the trickle down the line of work, as well as to how they interact with people outside. There is a certain like quality to each one that's so different, but it centers the client, and I think it goes to the firm's belief, going above and beyond.
Mm-hmm. I think to add to what the two of you have said is, what amazed me about the firm is the open door policy that it has. That if you're working in a particular team, so my first rotation was in team 2 with Mr. Tom Onyango in the conveyancing real estate department, and it was interesting that I got to work with him one-on-one. That if I had a query and I would get work from him and I would submit the work to him directly. So there are not so many channels, so you get to work directly with the partner, you get to learn firsthand from the partner themselves. So I attended meetings with him, I could see how he conducts his client meetings, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So there is a lot to learn other than the law. Practical side of the law, there is a lot to learn. You learn how to handle your clients. So you see, these things that are unspoken, these are the things that you learn from the partners. And I think the open door policy kind of brings an extra or an addition to your general experience, which I think sets the firm apart. Yeah. So speaking of COVID, how has it been? How has it been for you?
Well, the firm has invested very heavily in ICT, so most of our documents are online. We have cabinets the way you'd have registry in the office. We have online registries, online file cabinets, and so actually I think maybe we had a seer or a psychic in the farm, because we weren't. I can't say we were affected by COVID in terms of our workflow. So when it happened, I mean, first of all, the firm had a meeting. All safety precautions were considered, and then when we decided to work, everyone to work from home, it was a seamless transaction. Another nice thing is that as pupils, we were kept engaged. Not only our well-being in terms of everyone being COVID negative, but also just how everyone is doing, because it was such an uncertain time, especially for, like I said, pupils. We are, for lack of a better word, we are at the bottom of the barrel. So we were very uncertain about our future, but it was very comforting that the firm took its time just to make sure we were all okay, set up support groups, and just make sure everyone was okay, set up family calls, where everyone in the farm would go online. We also continued having our game nights, and everyone was just open. I think that really helped us, and it's still helping us as we try and push through these tough times.
Laila, an associate in the firm, introduced this workshop, or rather platform, an online platform where she invited guests to come and speak to us as pupils. Tell me your experience on that, you take from that, on what you think about it.
I think it was a wonderful initiative, and actually we just got to talking about it one of the few times that the firm was slightly opening up, and it was her just genuinely checking up on us. And that built into, would you be interested if we touch base? Not just something that we're doing as part of our career and our work here as pupils, but really taking an interest in us, mentally, emotionally. Where are we physically? Are we able, or do we talk to each other? She took time to listen to us. She said we were to suggest topics, and up until now, we are still holding them. And I think we've met majority of what we're doing. And this not only helps us on a personal level, but also as we continue thinking of the new areas in which we want to jump into. Is it capital markets? Is it human rights? And all the different topics that we're able to read, and being able to network. Because this is one of the things this firm will do for you. It will expose you to different organizations, NGOs, different partners, the new people coming in who need our expertise. And if you are wise, you pick up on it. You start looking for the avenues that maybe more work can come in. You start thinking to yourself, who can I bring in? What field can I go into? And one of the things is I've been able to sit in on a carbon talk. Who would have thought that that's something that Kenya's moving towards? And this is the new frontier that's coming. And luckily, one of our associates, who's an amazing person, he's the one who suggested and said, hey, there's this, come in, join, it's free. And I joined in it, we got to talking about it, and that raised more questions. So these forums have just been a blessing in disguise. And as much as we were hurting and we were in uncertain times, it allowed us to mesh, it allowed us to come together and continue learning. And beautifully, we've had our own speak to us. Like you said, you get to work with them, but maybe not as not exposing yourself to every single team. But the beauty of it, those who haven't experienced TMT got to talk on data protection. That, to me, is a great experience. And you get to see how they're so specialized in the field that they're in. And it brings a greater appreciation for every single member of every department. So it's been great.
The IT department introduced a remote help center that if your laptop has a problem, they can be able to access your laptop at home and be able to fix your problem at home. That for me was mind-blowing. The fact that the firm is investing so much into the IT system and ensuring that you can be able to get its services, you can be able to be comfortable and work from wherever it is that you are, that for me was just amazing. And then something else I think to touch on what you've said is that other than, of course, the law practice and the legal practice, is we get to interact with different other sectors. So I was in Team 3 recently. I'm just from Team 3, which is commercial team. And you'd find that the partners and even the associates are sending you links to workshops that you can attend, to symposiums that you can attend. So you see, it's not only limited to the firm's work, that I will give you work and you will submit the work. So you also get to learn, you also get to engage with other different forums, and your legal knowledge is expanded, and you just get different fields, or you get to interact with the different fields that are related to law. And you stop thinking this one-dimensional thoughts that I want to be a litigator, I want to be a conveyancer. So you see the whole scope of how law can relate to all these other different fields that you are exposed to in the firm.
And just bouncing off of what you said, I think Obama and I have been able to experience a tribunal, right? Who would have ever thought that you could take your skill and then merge it with litigating aspect in the form of a tribunal for a specialized field as sports? See how that goes together? Just recently, beautifully so, I was able to go to the industrial property tribunal. It was in a different part of Nairobi I have never been in. And that's a shame because I've been here for a while. And get to see the panel, get to see where they meet, how you go through the registries. And it's just exposing you to the different areas of law that's there. So I think that's pretty cool.
And also, just to add on that, I think another beautiful thing you touched on it is, let me say, no boardroom is off limits. So we've been to high-level meetings as a mere pupil, but when you walk in there, you're introduced as a colleague. And I think that's something that's like, it makes you feel so appreciated.
The fact that you mentioned something of being referred to as a colleague. The first time I was in a meeting and the partner said, "This is my colleague Kerubo." That was my look. I'm like, yo, wait, what? Colleague again? So I mean, that just tells you so much about the firm and the policy and the people's culture that it has. Something also that you have said is the fact that your ideas are valid and they don't stifle innovation. That is what I truly love about the firm. That you're allowed to express yourself, you're allowed to express your opinions, you're allowed to bring a different side to the table, and it will be considered as a valid opinion and it will actually be weighed. What are the cons, what are the pros? If it's a good opinion, then it will be taken on board. So I feel like that is such a big thing that the firm is doing, and it's growing you as a person to have this decision making skills, to actually have confidence in yourself, like, by the way, I can do this. So time is almost up. I'll ask each of you to just give a parting shot. I think different things. To start with you, Grace. What would you advise? Now that we're speaking about the pupillage journey, what would you advise anyone who thinks like that I want to join the firm? Yeah.
My advice to you would be put in your application. One of the things that they do look out for is form and structure, as well as how you would integrate yourself into the firm and what benefit you're bringing. Ensure that, and I think you might think it's very small, ensure that all the things that you said, attachments, any certificates, that you have put them into your application. That's very key, along with just being original and authentic.
Yeah.
That can be read through, that can be seen, and it will set you apart from the hundreds, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds of applications that come in.
All right. To you, Bam, what is the biggest, or rather, what would you say is the biggest thing that you've learned from the firm so far in your journey? What is your take home?
It has to be, whatever you do it to the best of your ability. I mean, sometimes you'll be given work that you have no idea of. Like, you look at the file and you've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Ever since you started law school. But just give it your best, because effort you can't beat hard work.
Yeah.
So if you just give it your all, even if you are miles offside, I'm sure whoever gives you the work will appreciate it.
Amazing. I think my parting shot would be willing to learn. That would be my parting shot. That is what I have learned throughout my journey so far, is open your mind and just have an open mind and be willing to learn. And if you don't have work, ask for it. Just have the hunger to learn. And not only from the legal aspect, as I think we have just said over and over again, that there's a lot to learn in the law firm. So have the hunger to learn and be willing to learn. And so be true to yourself and just be willing to learn, because you can never go wrong with those two. Thank you so much, Obama, and thank you, Grace. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Should we do this again?
Definitely.
We should, right? Hi, asante sana.